What exactly is buyer agency, Brian, for someone that's maybe new to the process?
Absolutely. So buyer agency is when you are working directly with an agent as your buyer representative.
Hmm.
Oftentimes, this is somebody that you would meet at an open house
Hmm.
and decide that you want to work with that particular agent.
Hmm.
When you're referred to a friend
Hmm.
that wants to work as your agent, that potentially could be buyer agency, but they are
Hmm.
working directly with you, the consumer that is looking to purchase a property.
Hmm.
All that's changed is when we have this conversation. And so instead of having it um, when we're submitting an offer, we're
Hmm.
having this conversation before we have any substantive conversations about your financing, the house, its condition, anything of that sort.
Right, so it's sort of common sense practice if you are educating a consumer, particularly a first-time home buyer or a first-time investor, and even just everyone needs a refresher, right? They're not
Absolutely.
they're not in it every day like we are, and it helps to talk about everything up front and your exclusive relationship, and also a lot of the fees and costs involved.
Right. I mean, what's
Yeah.
the term? Define the relationship, right?
Right.
It's basically just that. We're
Right.
defining the terms at which we are going to work together. That way, everyone is on the same page
Hmm.
about what the fees are, what the term is, and how this relationship is going to look moving forward.
Hmm.
So now you'll see that reflected in probably a buyer consultation that happens,
Hmm.
where you review all of the documentation and all of the
Hmm.
forms. But again, this doesn't have to be a crisis. This is just a
Right.
repositioning of when that conversation happens.
Right.
Not much else changed other than we can't advertise our potential seller paid compensation.
Hmm.
Um, that's it.
Yeah, that's been taken away from the consumer visibility
Correct.
in an effort to keep their interest, primary,
Mhm.
and that sort of a secondary conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think it's great having all that up front and any questions, as there's so many questions along the process too. But as much as you can get out of the way up front, I think
Mhm.
is definitely not only the law, but also best practice. Like like you're saying, not really too much change legally in
No, like I
Pennsylvania.
said, the
So
Commonwealth has had buyer agency since the 90s. So
mhm,
again, not much has really changed.
yeah.
Um, but if you do have questions, talk to a realtor, call the Realtor Association.
Hmm.
There's consumer um, resources available to you through the National Association of Realtors, Pennsylvania Association, as
Yeah.
well as our local association.
Yeah, there's a lot of great information, a lot of friendly faces at particularly our Pittsburgh
Of course.
association, which I can speak firsthand for.
Mhm.
But right, the National Association puts a lot out as well, a lot of great content.
And ultimately, this helps to protect the agents as well. That we
Yeah.
have a defined relationship with a consumer,
Hmm.
protecting the amount of work that we put in, even prior to you having an offer accepted or prior to a deal closing.
Right.
I think the general public forgets that for the vast majority of us, we do all of the work before ever getting paid. And so if that deal does not close, there's no income for us.
Right.
And by having very clear, defined roles
Right.
and a defined relationship, it makes everyone more successful to bringing it to that closing table.
Absolutely. That's such a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm noticing too, we're hearing that a lot of buyers, perhaps after you've found your agent and had this very important conversation, that housing, even in Pittsburgh, which is always touted as affordable city living,
Mhm.
is becoming a challenge. Are you seeing that too?
I am seeing that. I'm a city resident. I live in the north side of Pittsburgh,
Hmm.
and I have for the last 20 years, and I love it. Um, but I've, of course, seen the housing stock increase significantly in price due
Hmm.
to demand. We have decades of a very slow progress when it comes to building. And I'm excited to say that we're working very closely with the new mayor's office
Hmm.
to remove some of that red tape, remove some of the hurdles um, in the building process.
Hmm.
Um, Not only do we have a vast stock of properties that are vacant, that had bad tax bills, that are just sitting there waiting for redevelopment,
Hmm.
but we also have a vast number of lots that are
Hmm.
buildable. The problem is that the permitting process
Mm,
and the approvals process to redevelop that land is
mhm,
just covered in red tape
mm.
that even if you wanted to start a project today, you're not breaking ground for another 2 years.
My goodness, is
And
it
that's
really
a
that
huge
long?
investment of time and money for somebody to basically plan for the future.
Right.
But a 2 year long project with still another year build out, and that's 3 years. Even if we got started today, it's not going to fix itself overnight. Um,
No, and that's why I think we see so many builders and developers going outside of the city limits,
Absolutely. And
right?
and we have such great assets here in the city
Mhm.
that if we just removed some of those barriers, I think we could see a lot of progress very quickly.
Mm.
Even for myself, I live in a 1904 Victorian home, and behind it sits a carriage home that was built in 1879.
Oh, wow, interesting.
It's a 2 story. There's a 1 bedroom apartment on the second floor. Um, there's it's where the neighborhood came to vote for almost 60 years.
My
Um,
goodness, really?
yeah, but
That's
all of the
cool.
records for that building were from Allegheny City before it was combined with the city of Pittsburgh. So when I go to try and pull permits for this property, those documents don't live with the city of Pittsburgh anymore. They're in the old Allegheny City archives. So when
Wow.
I went to file a permit to have the carriage house redone, they wanted new construction permits. They wanted a curb cut permit. There was a lot of red tape to jump through, even though a carriage had been pulled out of that property with no curb cut since 1879. Um, so there's a lot of hurdles that even for somebody reconstructing a property that is currently there on their own site, even that has red tape.
Wow. Wow. Well, hopefully, like you mentioned, the mayor's office and their team are very involved to listening to a lot of these issues and making changes along the way to encourage developers. We have so much beautiful land and opportunity in the city that needs attention
Of
and
course.
needs development.
And with an aging population, with we're tech eds, meds, all of those fun terms, um, they're buying property that also has space available on it for accessory dwelling units or ADUs.
Mhm.
And as of right now, the city of Pittsburgh doesn't recognize an accessory dwelling unit.
Interesting.
And that's something that, as our parents' generation starts to age,
Mhm.
that really needs to become part of the equation.
It's a huge,
Where they're going
huge
to be able
factor.
to move on site with me, or presumably we would be able to move on site with them,
Mhm.
to consolidate households, but also make that familial tie just a little bit stronger.
Sure.
But that's another red tape nightmare that we just can't seem to get through,
Wow.
because the city has not yet defined ADU and
Interesting.
approved their use. But there are so many carriage homes all throughout town that could be reconverted and used, as additional dwelling units
Mhm.
for the owners that are currently there, perhaps helping them to make extra rental income,
Mhm.
affordable rental units,
Mhm.
or provide a space for either their aging parents or younger children to
Right.
occupy.
Right. And so many other countries, I think, have that as part of their tradition, right? It's
Oh,
almost
absolutely.
more unusual that all the families are separated. And I think that probably drives home a bigger issue of
Mhm.
just, values and principles of the modern day,
Yeah.
right? Valuing what's important. It is your family. It's taking care of each other
Mhm.
when you need to, and housing should facilitate that.
Absolutely. Or at least it should be easier to be able to facilitate it.
Mhm.
If you go south or southwest, you'll see a lot of homes labeled as next gen, where they
Mm.
have a small casita on site, or
Mhm.
the space where the garage would normally be is actually a legal apartment,
Mm.
and the garage gets placed somewhere else on the property. There's a way to do it. We just
Yeah.
have to define it
Yeah.
and have the city pass it.
That's great. Well, you'll have to report back once you get a little further along in the process,
I
maybe
certainly will.
after some tears and laughs, hopefully somewhere along there you'll tell us how it went and be right in the perfect position to advocate for the changes needed after you've lived through this experience yourself.
I can't wait to be a shining example for how well it works
Good.
once we can get there.
We can hope you can be the poster
Yeah,
boy for that.
one day.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Brian. It was great to hear about all the work you're doing and all of the changes you're so dedicated and inspired to make.
Of course, thank
Do you
you.
ever sleep or no? You're just a lot of
Very little.
coffee or
It's a lot of coffee a lot of the time.
that's
Even
great.
but I appreciate you having this channel
Yeah.
and bringing to light not only the great work that our individual members, realtors, and associations do, but showing the world that realtors are a special group of people
Yes.
dedicated to seeing you succeed.
Yeah, there are a lot of us that care well beyond the contract. And I've been so lucky to make so many great friends at the association as well. So I'm lucky to have your friendship and your support professionally also. So
Likewise,
it's been great, and we'll see you soon at the
looking
next
forward to
board
it.
meeting or one of these many meetings that we're at.
Can't wait.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.